Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you very much for inviting me to make this presentation. I am acutely aware that I stand between you and the cocktail hour, so I'm going to be very quick. I would want to congratulate PBA and ICMAD for a completely new innovation. I walked into this classroom and I realized there was a bar in the classroom, and I thought I would have gone to a lot more of my classes in college if I had had a bar in the room. So I will go very quickly through my presentation. And let me be very clear. You've heard some really detailed information from Sharon about some of the legislative challenges, the specific legislation. What I'm going to do is talk to you about the politics. Who are these people who are going after the industry, and how are we preparing to respond? Something unique is happening here. You have the large manufacturers, which is what I represent, the Personal Care Products Council, formerly more beloved as the Cosmetic, Toiletry, and Fragrance Association. And you have the medium-sized and smaller manufacturers represented by ICMAD, and you have the Professional Beauty Association, which is the salons. The other folks who are sort of very much a part of this effort on our part is the Direct Sellers Association, which is your Mary Kays and your Avon ladies who have a big part of this business and represent a very broad breadth of grassroots out there that can help us achieve our goals legislatively. So let me just quickly tell you who we're up against. This is the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics. It is run by, started by the Environmental Working Group, and it is made up of a number of different groups. The Alliance for Healthy Tomorrow, Commonweal, the Environmental Working Group, Friends of the Earth, Women's Voices for the Earth. These are all environmental groups that are gearing up, or not gearing up, have geared up already to really go after the beauty business and to go after cosmetics generally and the manufacturers. The coordinating group is the Breast Cancer Fund, which is based in San Francisco. Their hope is to attack the industry, to ban products and ingredients, to go after labeling, as Sharon pointed out. They want to pass very broad green chemistry laws like they have in California to specifically start eliminating ingredients that can be put in various products. They are on a tear this year to have fragrance ingredient disclosure. They want all of the ingredients in fragrances to be disclosed. As you might guess, this is making the fragrance manufacturers a little nervous. They don't think they should really be putting their formulas on the label. It would lead to a loss of value of their products. They want cosmetics regulated more like drugs, where you would have to get a product pre-approved by FDA before you could put it on the market. And they've started to focus on different industry product segments, like children's products. We think they're actually going to start focusing on products that the elderly use soon. So they're going after what they would call vulnerable populations that are specifically addressed by some of our product categories. The top congressional issues for us are actually adequate funding for the Office of Cosmetics and Colors. If you don't have anybody at FDA looking over this industry, then the advocates, the NGOs will argue then every state should be looking over the industry. So it's important to have a federal regulator who's adequately funded. Sharon already talked about activist legislation that was introduced this year by Congresswoman Schakowsky. And we are looking actually as a council, along with our allies and our coalition partners who are represented here today, to actually have our own legislation introduced so we can control the conversation at the federal level as well. Just a quick background about how we got to the point where we are. In 2007, a big bill on FDA was introduced by Congressman John Dingell of Michigan to deal with those import safety issues, food, drugs, all these things that were coming, that were contaminated from China. It didn't have cosmetics in it originally, but he wanted it to be a comprehensive bill. So he turned to FDA and talked to them about things that we had been talking to FDA about already, and he put a section in there on cosmetics in 2008. The sections that he put in that actually we were pretty okay with, because we thought we're doing this already on a voluntary basis, were to mandate that manufacturing facilities register with FDA, that they file their ingredient statements with FDA, that they report any adverse events that they become aware of that are occurring, that a consumer experiences, and then also require FDA to issue good manufacturing practices for cosmetics. We work with Congress and the committees. We've refined the language, we massaged the language, and basically the latest provisions that have been put on the table by even the Democrats up there are the provisions that we have worked with them and massaged to the point where we're happy with them. We have decided, however, that the advocates were not going to stop with these 4 provisions. So last summer, we actually issued a call for some additional requirements that or powers that could be given to FDA that would enhance our ability as an industry to innovate products. And that would actually be a way for FDA to set safety levels for ingredients of concern. So if somebody had a concern about lead in lipstick, which is one of the things the EWG issued a report about, the EWG could go to FDA and say, what's a safe level for lead in these kinds of products? And FDA would have to set a certain level for those products. So we established a process. There's a specific way that would be done. We think that parabens and phthalates would also be part of that process. And also the same thing could be done for contaminants that might be found in a product. Lead, 1,4-dioxane. And then actually ask FDA over a certain period of time to review and approve or disapprove all the current and future findings of the Cosmetic Ingredient Review Panel. Because that way it gives those findings credibility that FDA's reviewed them and approved them. In May of 2010, our council executive committee approved the use of these in negotiations. We then subsequently started talking to several senators about introducing the bill. I'll just quickly go over that. We tangled with Senator Feinstein of California for a long time on the bill. She ultimately did not introduce that Jan Schakowsky bill in the Senate, which was a victory for us. So we kept Feinstein off of that bill. And then our strategic plan for 2010-2011 is to pursue bipartisan support for our initiative, and we have been meeting with congressional members at this point and meeting with Feinstein and actually meeting with Feinstein and the activists in trying to work out some legislation. Most important thing we've been doing is evidenced here today. We've been trying to build a coalition of people in the industry so we can fight bad legislation and support good legislation at the federal level. So just to give you an idea of what we've been through in the last 5 or 6 years, this is how many states had legislation in 2005: Connecticut, Massachusetts, and New York. Last year, 22 states had, and the District of Columbia had legislation on cosmetics. We are currently following in the state legislatures about 130 bills that deal with cosmetics in state legislatures. Key state issues for us in the states: the California Safe Cosmetics Act, the thing that California passed in 2005, which was very bad for the industry, requires companies to file ingredients of concern that they have in their products with a state agency in California. And basically that state agency is going to publish a big long list of here are the cancer-causing ingredients in cosmetic products. That same legislation has been introduced in a number of other states. The most dangerous one, we think, this year is in Massachusetts. The bill is going to be heard in early September. We don't expect it to pass, but what it will do is provide a media platform for the activists to try to get a lot of media around that legislation and the hearing on that legislation and probably push it to additional states. I mentioned before we're worried about children's products, in particular language that would affect children's products, and in several states we're looking at certain ingredients trying to be banned in products. The Safe Cosmetics Alliance, you heard Steve talk about that. It's a very diverse membership: the Professional Beauty Association, Direct Selling Association, ICMAD, and the Personal Care Products Council. Just quickly, the mission statement: it is critically important that laws and regulations keep pace with scientific developments, consumer expectations, and industry innovation to ensure robust product safety standards and sustained consumer confidence. It's called the Safe Cosmetics Alliance. I told you who the coalition members are. This is a mock-up landing page, if you will, for it, and it's very hard to read, and that's why it's called a mock-up. This site is actually ready to launch, but we were hoping to get our legislation introduced in Congress and launch it at the same time. But not wanting to miss this opportunity of having 70 to 100 people in the room know about it, we decided to put up, and it is live now, this page. If you Google Safe Cosmetics Alliance right now, you will land at this page, and it's just a placeholder page where you could enter your email address so that when we do launch the site and the bill gets introduced, we will do an immediate blast email to all of you saying this bill is now introduced, the site is up. And the site is going to be a very interactive site where you can take action. It'll tell you who your congressperson is, who your state legislators are. You can write a letter through the website. You can sign a petition. You can join us on Facebook. You can join us. You can watch our tweets. So it's going to be a very active, interactive site. So it might be very useful and helpful for you to spread the word on this site so we can start collecting those emails so that we can get information out to you about all these legislative issues. And again, we're doing this as hand in hand. We've had numerous meetings with ICMAD and with PBA who are working very closely with us on the development of the site, the review of the site, the content of the site. So I urge you all to go on it and use it when we finally launch it. So that's my name and address, and that's where you can find me. And the bar is open now. Maybe a few questions first. So that's it.